Yeah, for sure. Coming into game 2, though, Dignitas, their best head pick worked out early. They got the picks they wanted, especially locking down Badger. You want to lock down those low mobility supports that we see. We see the Athenas. Well, actually, Athena's pretty high mobility, but like the Ares and Sylvanuses who don't have any movement abilities get really locked down by Bastet, and that's what we saw. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to translate that into the mid game.
I actually really liked I don't think the draft was the problem for Dignitas at all. Maybe shy away from the Neith pick, but other than that, I liked Frezzy. I always like Shadow Nightmare and Giannis. It's very hard not to like that combination. And as you said, the Bastet worked out very well. Now Fnatic, as we look at the picks and bans for this game, one of the other few teams to go ahead and ban Ao Kuang in the first spot. Taking a look at Captain Twig, he's played Ao Kuang twice recently. One of them did wind up being a win, but his personal performance wasn't too hot. So Fnatic, taking a look at what they've done in the past, don't really want Captain Twig on that god, I'd assume. I don't think we'll see a Thor first pick here, Kevin, but I would not be surprised to see Thor early on.
We could, especially if Team Dignitas doesn't elect to ban out a support here. What that's going to do is it's going to leave so many supports open that Fnatic aren't going to be worrying about trying to get a priority there, which we'll typically see. Right. They're actually going to be banning out the Giannis. So once again, Dignitas baiting the mid lane picks. They're basically saying Fnatic pick Isis, because if you don't, we're snagging it. That's exactly what that pick is saying, or that ban there is saying. The Ao Kuang ban, though, coming up from Fnatic, I mean, even you talked about his poor performance on it previously, even though they did win that game. Captain Twig came onto Twitter and he's like, we won, but I haven't been practicing Ao Kuang, and I'm assuming that's just holding true. The few teams we've seen ban out Ao Kuang in first place at the first pick position just seem to not have the experience on that Ao Kuang. Fnatic, though, they're not going to take Isis. They're going to elect to go Sylvanus. So very happy with Badger's performance last game. Definitely want to get that rolling again in that dual lane.
And also the Ao Kuang can mess up sort of your idea of where you want to put your other magical gods. And Team Dignitas playing this very intelligently, taking Thor away from Captain Twig. Don't want to let that ball get rolling twice in a row. So
I'd say Isis here, because Fnatic don't typically run the double Guardians, which means you'll be able to snag either Geb or Athena up next, and you have a very powerful core in Thor, Isis, and then either Athena or Geb, if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for that high pressure early game.
There it is.
So they're going to do. They're going to lock in the Isis, and like I said, like Fnatic, they might have maybe occasionally, but I don't ever really see them run the double Guardian composition.
Yeah, every once in a while, we'll see a sobek out of Maniac.
Yeah, but that's not like the jungle that we see that I'm typically talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like the Athena or Geb taking the true supports away.
Right. Captain Twig does have a Ymir in his arsenal, not exactly the level of Frostyax or some of the other more potent Guardian junglers as well. So definitely an observation that Dignitas has probably made themselves. And Fnatic is going to force hi-rez to play a different god than Neith.
This is like, I feel, when I see hi-rez, I think Neith.
Me too. Which is funny because at the end of the day, not one of his go-to gods historically over his lifetime, but when he does perform well, all the times that he's really stepped up for his team, whether it's this one or his last one, Upcoming Stars, hi-rez has been playing on this Neith.
So Freya actually picked up. There's so many Guardians available. They want to focus on that dual lane.
You know,
and they're going to ban away Nuwa.
I'm laughing because I'm laughing. I know the production has this right, but if you close your eyes off the top and you looked at the Thor, Isis, Freya, it just looks like a Fnatic lineup. I mean, Freya, this is a character that Reels loves to go for. Thor, obviously, Captain Twig did fantastic on. Team Dignitas is doing everything they can. They're not taking characters away just for the hell of it. They're also very good at these characters, but sort of a 1-2 punch with this draft for Team Dignitas.
Athena banned away for Fnatic there, recognizing that Athena would be the powerhouse basically against their team more than anything. Athena very powerful against Bellona, and also very high setup for Isis and Thor. It's going to be Sobek going to the solo lane more than likely, but that could also be for Frezzo. Frezzo, one of the other players, much like Yannick in North America, who really like that support Sobek.
Sobek is a character that brings a lot to the table. One of the things that a lot of players forget at home is that Sickening Strike actually prevents a little bit of healing.
25%.
25% Mortal Strike. So because of that, it'll help the siege heal of Sylvanus.
Sun Wukong locked in for Maniac. So it's going to be a Bellona jungle going to Twig, and Agni going to be going to the mid lane for Zeros. Last pick going to be coming through for Team Dignitas. Up next, is it going to be a solo lane, or is that a solo Beck? And are they going to draft the Geb for support?
I think that's a solo lane Sobek. I really
Nope.
and truly do.
Hell
but
solo
it's
lane.
Be a solo lane Hell. Interesting.
So Hell making her rise, but once again, you pick it last. You don't pick it in the first phase, Justice. You don't pick it in the first phase because it does not work well, and you don't pick it into Circuit. So no true lockdown coming out for Hell, but it is going to be a Bellona jungle versus the Hell, Wukong solo lane. And actually, this, I think, is a very similar combination to where Ataraxia played Hell yesterday, is he faced the Wukong in solo. It's a matchup that Hell does okay in. I mean, early on, you're going to get pressured, but once you're hit level 6, level 7, level 8, where you can full clear the wave and heal up your minions before Wukong can take them out, you start to gain the pressure in the solo.
How do you like Hell coming into the Neith?
It's fine. I don't really actually. Okay, so the global gank, yeah, that you're right. That's a good thing to note too. Is the global pressure coming up from Neith, and Fnatic is a team who will abuse Hell. Right? It's not going to be, you know, when you play these higher level teams, they know how to lock down these gods that you shouldn't have picked or have a very rough time early. And Variety, he's going to have to play very defensive early on. I expect him to build a Breastplate of Valor soon, and you could see that with his starting build.
Yeah, he's already starting out off defensively because Hell is a character that's very black and white. No pun intended. She's on or off. She's digital, right?
That is full pun intended.
She's
don't even,
1 or 0.
Don't even try to lie to the viewers.
It wasn't there in my head. You know. Anyway, the idea is she's either going to, it's feast or famine. She's going to carry and put out tons of damage as well as healing, or she's going to get ganked a lot.
This is season 1. This is a season 1 gank, but Dignitas, they're going to know about it because they're walking right over a ward. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bait Dig into doing that blue buff, and they come and evade. But Dig, they're going to see it out, and they're going to walk to lane and actually get a little bit of lane pressure before Fnatic can rotate here.
Minions will meet up right here, so Fnatic won't miss any minions beforehand. A little bit late to the party, though.
This is great for Dig. They need to clear these minions and then go do their bluff. Oh, a double tap. And actually, Captain Twig not going to fall for first blood. Berserker's Barrage was used on the minions. So it was not available. Great pickup from them, and now they're going to have the pressure. They're going to steal away this blue buff. Captain Twig is forced to back at level 2, not even a minute into the game. He can't even wait for another wave.
Nothing Fnatic can do about this blue buff right here because of that pressure that was put onto the jungler. So Team Dignitas really understanding how to deal out their damage, and Maniac caught out in a little bit of trouble.
Forced a creeping curse.
Yep.
He was scared of the damage potential coming through. And
I mean, he saw what happened to his jungler.
Yep. Great start by Dignitas.
Very, very early on, Dignitas. I mean, that's what you need to do for the Hell. Fnatic, so I mean, the reason that we saw that situation go on is Badge is served up by the Sobek. Reels will come in to block some of the shots.
And Ren's actually taking all the poke. I mean, if he gets hit by a root, he's dead. If he gets hit by a Spirit Arrow, he's guaranteed dead. As long as Fnatic know it's going to connect and elect to commit, but it looks like they're going to be a little bit wary because Isis has rotated under them. This is going to be a gank from Dignitas. They're looking to start off strong. Badja, he blinks the wrong way. Reels is actually going real deep. 1 versus 3. Frezzo and Renz are low. Who's going to die first? Great backflip. The Spirit Ball is going to miss. The Pluck is going to miss as well. Frezzo, he could get this turnaround on him. The Pool's going to miss as well. A lot of missed abilities in that fight. That should have been first blood for someone.
Very unfortunate for Team Dignitas. I mean, we talked about how easy it is to see where the Neith is going to land once she backflips, and Dignitas not able to capitalize on the predictability of that movement ability. So because of that, Team Dignitas drops the first blood, but to be fair, Fnatic drops the return first blood as well. So still 0-0 here in our second game.
I can't believe no one died in that lane. I actually can't believe it. Variety versus Maniac, and with Variety's early lead and the fact that Captain Twig was so pressured early and he can't rotate over here, Variety has full control of this lane as long as he can manage his mana properly. Look at that. Wukong's clear is not very good. All he has to do, wait for the cudgel, Variety heals up his minions, and then he's just... And then Maniac's going to take a ton of poke. Look at him already. He's already under half, just hitting level 5, and Variety continues to pressure him out.
And having the blue buff on Hell is so important because to do what she wants to do, you have to use so much of the blue. That's why we saw the initial attempted invade from Fnatic. You take the blue away from Hell, and she's in a really rough spot.
They just baited Captain Twig real hard, trying to set up, and Captain Twig actually going to turn around and
no double tap that
poke.
time. Only takes the one hit from the Mjolnirs.
Twig wants to fight this.
But he's 1v3.
Frezzo's already under half. I mean, Zeros just has to come around the top. Oh, man. I feel like they could have committed to that, but I guess a little bit risky. It would have been a 4 versus 2. Likely would have overcommitted for it, and it looks like I think they split those mid-camps.
Yeah, one went to Isis, one went to Captain Twig, if my eyes serve me correctly. Team Dignitas versus Fnatic here. Second game of a 2-game set, and this one is all tied up very, very early on. The right mid-camps, though, Kevin, no split there. These ones have Fnatic's name all over them.
Game even up. Even though Fnatic had that rough start, they found advantages elsewhere. hi-rez, is that level 3? Oh my word. hi-rez just hit level 4, so even though he hasn't died, he's so far behind Reels right now. He just hit level 4. You can even see them zoning at their own tower. It's so hard for Renz to level up. Right now, Fnatic's dual lane is controlling them completely. Look at all those minions that they grouped up.
Freya, in my opinion, is a harder to play god. He's an advanced level in the hunter role, would you say?
I'd say it's a different play style, right? If you play one hunter, translates pretty well. Freya, just a different play style. You have to be much careful. Much more careful.
This isn't something we see a lot out of Red, so sort of trying something new. And you can see Fnatic, on the other hand, Reels knows the Freya matchup inside and out, really loves to bring her into the long lane. So Fnatic taking advantage of the knowledge base, basically, of their dual lane versus their opponents.
Look at this. hi-rez is forced to split red buff because he's still not level 5 at 5 minutes in. He needs to find experience wherever he can. Badja and Reels are playing this lane perfect, almost.
Well, Renz just hit level 5 at 5 minutes, so a little bit behind when you compare to Reels level 6 and almost level 7. Pull onto Renz is good out of the hand of Sylvanus by Badja. Double stun coming out from the bludgeon. Will be avoided because of the Valkyrie's discretion, but one hit from the hammer, and first blood goes the way of Captain Twig, Fnatic's jungler.
Meanwhile, Frostiak was over in that solo lane looking for a gank on Maniac, but Maniac had already backed, unfortunately just on the wrong side of the map. Couldn't, find a return gank or a counter gank coming out. Renz, it's going to be a rough game for him, but here's actually the gank. They're going to try and lock down Zeros, and he's actually going nowhere.
Nowhere to go. Can we look at Zero's route? Well, he's dead right now, but the dash, no.
It didn't even matter. No, he was actually stunned for so long, he could not have dashed even if it was up. I mean, that was perfect. Thor lands down, Spirit Ball, silence, Thor wall, dead.
That's the combination that really is going to kill Agni. He's got to take that into mind. Don't be surprised if you see right away. There it is, beats one.
Look at this
right
zoning. Away. I mean, Renz should be an experience for these archers with the update, and you can see him just barely getting that experience. But still, a 2-level advantage for Reels right now. Almost 3 if he gets one more minion. Yeah, and Renz has only died once.
Yeah, this is as I said, this is experience versus inexperience. Renz, been in the scene for a while, as we said, got his start on Upcoming Stars, but still very, very new blood in comparison to Reels.
Frezzo has more last hits than Reels. Or excuse me, more than hi-rez. But Reels actually not a lot of last hits either.
Dual lane just freezing out everybody. Right-hand side, might be a fight over these harpies. Badja blinks in, gets the initiate. Over the top comes Captain Twig. Nobody's going to be stunned with the Roma Invicta, but does take out a huge chunk. Bludgeon really swinging this early on. Frezzy very, very low. Just a matter of time. Maniac gets the kill on Sun Wukong. So the solo lane looking hot. Frostiak going to take to the sky. Will he be aggressive? And he will! Badja taken out by Shadow Nightmare. Credit on that one. But still coming back is the rest of Fnatic. Zeros gets the kill on a Frostiak. Makes him pay. Long range Spirit Ball. Just barely going to get dashed out. Great shot by Shadow Nightmare. Bellona able to dash out just a little bit to avoid inevitable death.
Zero's coming in with the huge Agni Bomb stuns. That should have been much worse for Fnatic, but stunning out a lot of damage and channeled abilities from Team Dignitas there over the top. But Dignitas, they do find a return pick, so they're fighting back for now. The game's fairly even, only a 700 gold lead for Fnatic. Shadow Nightmare continuing to put pressure on this mid lane, though, is Zyra is going to get stunned out.
So that fight wound up sort of being a wash. We saw kills on both sides. Really no team
Support for support.
Exactly. No team really gains an advantage off of that. But what does happen is Team Dignitas' Hunter, Freya, the one that we've been talking about having such a hard time, makes the rotation into mid. Reels doesn't even bother. So because of that, that might put Freya behind even more so. No assist credit.
Nope. Aggression coming out onto Frezzo. Gonna get slowed out. He'll just quickly respond with a dash. Some counter ward going on for Gold Fury. Fnatic, they're not in position to start it up, but they may be just trying to bait some wards out, allow them to get some free gold for clearing them, and just kind of waste gold for Team Dignitas if they can counter ward them.
Damage
Pressure
coming out by Team Dignitas onto the tower. Maniac's tower will fall one more time. Last time it was the solo lane tower, but it was Varieties. This time it's the solo lane tower again, but it is Maniacs on Fnatic.
And this is, you know, with the early lead that Captain or that Thor and Hell were able to gain in that lane, this is what I expected, right? Hell should have been pressured early, but because you let her get control of the lane, it didn't go that way. And then she not only got her own blue buff, but stole away Wukong's, so she's able to continuously put pressure. Maniac, though, so far done a nice job of staying even with Hell. Frezzo gonna fling Twig back, but take a lot of poke and response, and his ult is forced out when they were trying to set up the kill.
Now, Sobek has only died once, and there's really we don't have the way to capture this stat, but I would love to see how much time spent below 50% HP this Sobek has been, because he's just been repeatedly poked out by, well, everyone on Fnatic.
That's true. Mid-camps here started up. Captain Twig looks like he doesn't want to give this one up. Actually going to stun two here. Frostiak going to respond with the double tap and go straight onto Zyros. Zyros could turn this around on Frostiak, though. The stun not going to connect. And Captain, he takes to the air. He's trying to lock down Captain Twig. Not going to be it, though. Frostiak just trying to play safe.
I like the ultimate from Frostiak to land on his mid laner. Basically what that says is, if somebody commits, if the melee commits and they're going to be on top of my Isis, I'll be able to take care of it. Real's in a little bit of trouble. But he's going to turn this one right around. As we said, 3 levels. His opponent, Senior, going to give a little bit of harassment to Renz. Meanwhile, mid lane, Wukong makes the rotation, picks up the kill onto Shadow Nightmare.
Hell finds a kill in that mid lane. A big look. Able to lock it down Badger and Reels right now. I mean, you could just see how big he is. 1 versus 2 fighting Frezzo and hi-rez, who are level 8 right now. They've only died once, and they're still that far behind. Reels pressuring into the jungle. I mean, he's just forcing them out. He doesn't even care. 1 versus 2, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, Reels swinging on a character that's not really known for large amounts of pressure. I mean, Neith, not the go-to, you know, when you want to think about fighters, Kevin, in that long lane, I think on her. I think Uller. I don't think Neith.
Early on, though, she is very strong, and her Spirit Arrow is hitting for so much, you always have to be wary of it. Not only is it hitting them and locking them in place, but also you're going to get free auto attacks off as well.
Unravel is also huge against this opponent in particular. Freya, obviously you see the Fatalis built. Because of the way her kit works, attack speed is her boon. 5 seconds is the sort of on switch for Freya. In between, she's got a 5-second steroid. With Unravel lowering the attack speed of the opponent, it stops Freya from being Freya. It's so powerful in this specific matchup.
Game, for how I'd say high-paced this has been, a lot of poke coming out, not a lot of kills on the board, only 4 to 3. Maybe high for Europe, though, to be fair. I mean, there was a 22-minute first blood, and it was Fnatic versus some other team. I don't recall exactly, but it was...
Yes, 22-minute first blood.
Oh, my...
I do recall.
God, that was...
Moved far away from that one. And that was the era of predictable fights every 3 minutes at mid-camps.
Yeah. Now, those timers are a little bit off, not worth as much either. Captain Twig looming around here on the left side. Meanwhile, some pressure onto this mid lane. We could see Dignitas group up and try and take this tower. And it looks like that's what they want to do. No, Frostiak just going to counter ward. Zeros staying very far back. Yeah, very far back.
Yeah, Dignitas was pinged out by Maniac. You can see the ward on the right-hand side of the map. Hell and the Thor walked across that as they come towards the mid lane. Zero's going to be here. In comes Captain Twig, blinks, and does a lot of damage onto Variety. That will save the tower. And very carefully played by Zeros, so he'll be alive as well. Agni lives to see another day.
Used all his bombs, though. You know, that's one thing about Agni is you want to use them to poke consistently, but to use all 3 before a fight breaks out, that's most, if not all, of your damage gone, because it's very hard to get aggressive and try and hit the Flame Wave. But Dignitas 4-man, they're going to be grouping up here. Maniac, he's rotated in. He's trying to lock down someone here. Frezzo, he's going to miss his pluck, and this fight's broken up.
Still pushed out of front is Team Dignitas. Very, very low is Captain Twig. Getting aggressive is the Thor, and Frostiak will claim the life, but now he's stuck underneath the tower. Helped out from Maniac. Badger gets credit for that kill off of a fantastic team fight ultimate. Up in the air is hi-rez looking to seal the deal on somebody in the back line. Frezzo trying to get it out. Can't. Jingle bang over the top from Maniac. Very low is him, though. It's trading back and forth. Variety takes Maniac as he's low. Variety keeps himself up. He is hell. Seals the double kill from the rotation on the Hunter. Team Dignitas winds up on top of this one. 3 for 3, but they'll also get a tower.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Hell, we always talk about it, right? Hell is just so easy to gank, so easy to lock down, useless in lane. But when she gets ahead, though.
I mean, that's always... People always ask, I mean, Kret does that AMA every Tuesday, and people always ask anybody related, what's the deal with Hell? And Hell is bad because she gets ganked. Asterisk. If she doesn't, if she's allowed free reign, I mean, at this point in the game, level 15, the highest level of anybody in the game, the AoE damage that comes out, the AoE healing that comes out is too much to deal with at this moment for Fnatic. So 3-0-2 on that solo lane coming out of Variety, and it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, killing a health that's behind, pretty easy. Killing a hell that's even, all right, you can do it. It's a little bit rough.
Stunner,
killing a hell that is 2 levels above almost everyone on your team is not an easy task. It's almost impossible here. Badja, he's going to get caught out in the jungle. One more swing. Frezzo should be able to pick this one up, but he could get out of combat. No, one more hit, that's going to lock him down. Shadow Nightmare forced out in the back, though. And Hell, just Variety just playing such a good Hell so far. 3-0-2. He's got breastplate online. He's got his pin boots.
Building
and
into Warlocks.
I don't think it's going to be Warlocks. I don't think he's going to have the time to stack it. It's going to be Ethereal Staff here. It's almost identical stats. But when you're 100 stack, there is an advantage for Warlocks. It's just... It's going to take him so long to get to that point, it's not worth it. He'd rather have that effectiveness for the next 10 to 15 minutes instead of being stronger in 20.
E-Staff, exactly like you said, you give up a little bit, but it's effective right now instead of later on. And when you're 15 minutes in, kind of, and especially since Hell is sort of relinquished, she's gone. She's not in the lane anymore. Being mobile with the rest of the team as Team Dignitas makes the move over to Gold Fury. Only one here is Reels. Coming in from the right side will be Maniac, assisted by the mid laner. Everybody here from Fnatic now as Team Dignitas doesn't execute right away. Frezzo, again, this is the pluck. Damage coming out, but a great wall coming out from Thor will prevent the majority of the team from chasing the Sobek. Captain Twig jumps in by himself. Thor in the air. Thor's going to land on top of Twig, but he'll miss. Long-range Spirit Ball. hi-rez ultimately gets the kill from up in the air in Valkyrie's discretion. Majority of Fnatic still in trouble. Frezzy surrounded by blue jerseys. He'll go down. Zeros gets credit for that one. Team Dignitas still here in spades. 4 members deep. Captain Twig, the only one dead on Fnatic, so they're still here as well, but the health bars are much higher on the side of Dig.
Badge is low. He's going to have to try and defend this. Gold Fury already under half, but it's a bait for the fight. Frostiak, he's going to teleport into his hammer. There's the whoop coming out from hi-rez, but hi-rez is going to get a turn off. Badja hits 4. Reels takes out Rins. Maniac, he's going deep. He's trying to find a stun. He's going to lock down Shadow Nightmare. The pull. Get back here, Shadow Nightmare. You're dead. That's going to be a double kill picked up for Reels, and Dignitas, who thought they were baiting the fight, got baited themselves.
Watch the side. Double tap will kill Reels. Frostiak's aware that Zeros is here. Gonna play it a little bit careful.
This is risky. This is super risky from Fnatic. I feel like they should reset. Frezzo died early last fight. He's already back in, but so is Captain Twig. They're trying to lock down Variety. Variety has almost no mana. The cooldowns aren't enough. Zero's going to pick up that kill. Frezzo's in the middle of 4. None of them are very low. I mean, he's only going to risk his own life. There's the creeping curse, though. At least slowing down the pace of Fnatic, who have started up Gold Fury once again.
This has been back and forth over this Gold Fury for the past almost 2 minutes. Love the zoning job by Maniac over here to prevent Frezzo from really coming in. Because of that, what was originally started by Team Dignitas, fought over, will go the way of Fnatic. Taking a look at the graphs, 1,600 gold in the way of Fnatic with their first lead of the game. 10-8 read the kills as we approach our 18th minute here in game number 2. Fnatic will not push down the mid lane. Instead, they'll just put a wave and a half of minions on it, which will still do a lot of damage.
Reset coming out from both teams. Ethereal Staff now is completed by Variety, and you saw him try and go in there, but you can't go in 1 versus 4 as Hell. Hell is effective in team fights because not only does she heal herself, she heals up multiple members around her. She can also cleanse them and debuff them. 1 versus 4 on no mana, though. A little bit of a rough look. With that Ethereal Staff, though, we should see her much tanky, a lot harder to lock down. That's 600 health, and it's also going to be converting that health into magical power.
And that magical power, that last statement that you said, is really the key point. I mean, anything that's going to allow Hell to continue putting out damage and heals, because power does both sides of the coin, is very, very scary.
That tier 1 tower on left, pretty low here. Real's likely to try and push past it soon. Irons did manage to pick up a kill, so he was getting very pressured in lane. I mean, it was a rough look for him. Real's controlled Irons completely, but after that kill, we have seen the gap closed a little bit. He is about 600 gold behind, though, after that first Gold Fury was taken, but he's closed the gap.
Closed the gap. He's still 14 to 16.
Real's just hit 16. All right, okay, never mind. He's still behind.
Ren's coming up on level 15 here, has his combo maxed, so that pulse irradiate nonsense coming out from Freya's sword will be very strong.
He's finished Demonic Grip as well. Frezzo, my big thing right now for Dignitas is Frezzo needs to hit these plucks. There's been too many misses in a row. You're, taking out a big part of the character. Now, he's using it for Initiate for now. However, he's not getting the target he wants. He's just kind of landing in the middle of Fnatic, and they instantly burst him down. While he's able to peel them off of himself and get away, what happens is, then he's down. He's forced to either come back into the fight at low health or forced to back, and Dig is a man down.
Yeah, that's been the story the whole time. I mean, now he's 3 deaths in, but as I said before, spending so much of this game low HP is not the look you want to see from your frontliner. Your frontliner is, he's got to be tanky enough to really withstand it. Taking a look at the build, he does have Sovereignty online, building into magical resistance as well, so should be a little bit tankier on the side of magic. But Captain Twig, Maniac, Reels will still be swinging.
Look at this, though. Reels, he smells something out. I can't tell if there's a ward right now on Frostiak, but he knows that they're there, yeah.
There's no...
He's like, hi, guys. What's going on? I mean, the zoning's good, but right now there's 3 members of Dignitas. You're only zoning 1 wave.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we do have Maniac pressuring that tier 1 on right. Variety's rotating to defend it. And a big grouping from Fnatic here. 3 in the mid lane. Mid camp's about to spawn on the right side, though. We could see some rotations. And there's Maniac already in the jungle.
Making his way. Now he'll stay around.
He's going back
to
lane.
Lane. He's going to stay in the solo lane, looking at HP. Variety still full health. No surprise there. Maniac as well. Right camps will go the way of Team Dignitas, but it's just a speed bump as they make their rotation on
Pretty
the
sure
side.
Ren's just lost his tower to minions because he went to do back camps. Yeah.
Minions.
I mean, it was 1 hit anyway. It's not. It's not. To be fair, it's not worth defending. That was likely to fall at any point in the game.
And I mean, the dual lane tier 1 tower, how valuable is that in terms of map control, Kevin?
It's not valuable in map control. It's valuable in the sense that if we see a rotation by Captain Twig onto Irons, he has no safe place to go. If the gank comes and Irons is where he's at now, he's almost guaranteed dead. At the same time, though, they may be trying to bait it out. They do have Frostiak, they have the Thor, they have the global rotations. So it could just be a bait if we see the rotation over there. The game's pace, though, has slowed down. Both teams putting a lot of respect into each other.
It's funny. Team Dignitas seemed to have really swapped roles. I loved what I saw to Frostiak, even as the game got later on the Bastet. Unable to really continue it in this one. However, I felt like Odin didn't deliver last time around, but the hell, absolutely delivered.
It's a full swing. I mean, it's a full swing. Odin was typically there to get his team out after the team fight had already broke down. This time, Variety on this hell is making his team win fights.
Exactly, being a large impact. I mean, Fnatic has won a couple of fights here. Dignitas has put up a fight, as you can tell by the kill score, 10-8. Fnatic does wind up with a Gold Fury, and Team Dignitas staying relevant, just separated by about 2,000 gold. So a lot of that, as you said, coming off the back of Variety having a very strong game here. Ren's going to go ahead and pause. Still having issues. It looks like Team Dignitas having a little bit of problems on the side of their squad right now. But so going into this one, I mean, Dignitas has to really, how do you leverage this hell now that you've gotten her ahead? We've mentioned it multiple times today, how that's the asterisk, get her ahead. Well, she's ahead. How do you use this?
So you want a team fight, but it's how you team fight. You want to make sure that hell is not locked down, that she's protected, and if Frezzo needs to find a pluck. Frezzo needs to force the team fights. They need to force Fnatic to have to engage or to at least burn things to get out. Or it needs to be Frostiak engaging and forcing the fight, and Frezzo running Peel for Variety. Because Variety could still be locked down by Bellona and Wukong, and it's likely to see them try, or Zeros could dump all of his Agni Bombs into her.
Right.
She only has beads, she doesn't have any Aegis, and she's not super tanky right now. She has a lot of physical protection, no magical protection though, but a decent amount of health. And that's the goal, right? Is just keep her alive, make sure she's sitting in the back of the fights. Variety needs to make sure not to get too aggressive, trying to get damage off, and just primarily focus on healing up his team.
And he's going to be building into this Lotus crowd. Of course, it could go a different route, Celestial Harem or
Could be anti-crit as well.
Yep.
Unlikely.
I do expect the Lotus crown. Fnatic,
I do too.
To go ahead and start up the Gold's Fury. No vision on it for Team Dignitas, but they do have the nose, and they'll sniff it out. Captain Twig going to provide a little bit of zoning. Reels looking for some kills, but because of that, Gold's Fury not going to take any more damage. 50% on the objective. Able to heal up almost to 75, but Reels really chunking it. Now, this all of a sudden looking a little more scary as Team Dignitas is here in waves. Down comes crashing the Thor. More for disruption than anything else. Captain Twig taking a lot of damage. Will stun over the top. Frostiak fighting Zeros on the back end, but the rest of the team fight rages on the top. Badger gets the kill from Shadow Nightmare just from the dot. Reels nowhere to go. Frostiak takes him out with a teleport hammer, and 3 members of Fnatic will exit to the left, and Team Dignitas exits to the right.
That was a 1-for-1. However, Variety wasn't there at the start of the fight, and Fnatic able to lock down Shadow Nightmare before he got away. hi-rez missed a couple of his ultimate shots on Reels, but Frostiak with a nice hammer over the wall, able to secure the kill. And with their hell, all of Dignitas is going to heal up, and they're going to be starting this Gold Fury for themselves. Fnatic, are they rotating to Fire Giant? It looks like they could be. No, they're just going to do back camp. So they're giving up Gold Fury. They're just playing it safe. They know for right now they can't lock down this hell, or at the very least, they're scared of the hell.
And that will tie the game here, folks. 25 minutes into game number 2. Fnatic took game 1, looked very, very strong.
They thought they're on fire.
And they did.
So if they actually recognize that all of Fnatic is backed, they could just do it themselves. I think that's what they're talking about. No, hi-rez's going to back. They likely could have snuck that one away if they were aware.
I love that play. You could sit here and say that Thor Ultimate wasted. That's exactly what you do.
They had no vision on Fire Giant. They had to try.
Exactly what you do. Absolutely loved the. I mean that's what we need to see more out of Team Dignitas. The intelligence factor, the play calling, the understanding, the information from lack of information that you get. We have no idea where anybody is. They got to be on Fire Giant, right? You pull the trigger, and then you attack them on Fire Giant, and then what we just saw was the worst case scenario where nothing happens. If your worst case scenario is ever nothing happens, I'm telling you, take the leap and go for it.
Captain Twig rotating over here to this left lane, looking to put pressure on hi-rez. Without that tower, this is what he wants, but he was actually in range of the minions. I don't know if he was in vision range, but you can see him grab the XP there close enough. Frezzo rotating over to this dual lane. 4 members for Dignitas on the left side of the jungle. But the thing is, they still don't have vision on the Fire Giant. They need to make sure to grab that. They do have 3 counter wards in their inventory, 2 regular wards. And I think that's what Variety's going to be aiming to do is to put some wards there and make sure they have vision. Don't allow Fnatic to sneak that away from them.
Yeah, Team Dignitas playing a very dangerous game by being that heavy on the left-hand side. So they'll notice it themselves. Make their way past the mid lane into the right-hand side of the map. They will see Maniac, who will use the bird to get away. No need for Badger to get involved, along with Captain Twig, just showing up to prevent any further diving into the jungle. Ward immediately taken out by Team Dignitas. They really don't want any chance for this vision to come online. Now, we're going to see the dance that we've seen so many times here, folks. This next fight will generally dictate who takes Fire Giant.
Counter ward dropped over there on that speed buff. We saw Dignitas try and gain control of that. Maniac.
Again, the missed pull from Frezzo. This time it won't be as detrimental as the last couple. The entirety of Fnatic is not here to respond to the crocodile being in the middle of nowhere.
Fnatic need to be very wary. They cannot get into a poke war. When the fight starts, Fnatic they're forced to full commit, because if they allow an extended engagement, that hell is going to win. Now, they have picked up a lot of anti-heal, 2 weakening curses, a divine ruin coming out from Zeros, and a pestilence being picked up by Captain Twig, and one started by Badja as well. So they do have a lot of anti-healing in this fight, but they still can't let the fight go on for much longer than 15 to 20 seconds.
Don't forget that runic shield as well on the side. Can we mouse over that item before these teams?
It's going to reduce magical power and attack speed by 20%.
Captain Twig getting poked out a little bit. The stun will
hurt. A lot of it.
Will hurt a lot. Beforehand, though, this is the commit. Fnatic now in. The working curse is down. hi-rez in the air. On the front side is Thor. Frostiek doing what he can, but immediately forced out by the damage coming from Fnatic. Jumping in is Captain Twig and Badja looking directly at hi-rez. They want to get this Freya out of the way, and Zeros will confirm it. That's 1 down, 4 to go for Fnatic. Frezzo very, very low. Not much the Sobek can offer to the team, but Fnatic still wants the alligator put into the ground. Will tail whip up. Aggressive dash from the Agni can be problematic, but it serves the good, and Frezzy will fall. Frostiek gets a kill for his team for the first time the whole engagement, but Reels will make him pay, and it's a 1 for 3 thus far. Fnatic feeling good about that one, 14 to 10, and they regain control of the objective.
Variety and Shadow Nightmare, 2 mages, and we could already see Badja and Maniac trying to lock them down. We do have a blink coming out from Shadow Nightmare, but he's going to put himself in combat. And actually, they might try and lock down Badja, but he's a little bit too tanky for them to deal with. You see Zeros and Maniac rotate over, and Fnatic smartly going to be pulling off the Fire Giant. A little bit too wary of the damage potential we see coming out from these mages on Team Dignitas. But that fight, you saw Fnatic when it broke out. Full commit. Zeros could get a little bit caught out. No, beats immediately.
Yeah, Fnatic was, they hesitated a little bit, but then finally did commit.
The big thing there was that Variety was stuck away from the team, and you could see Maniac just completely zoning him out.
Right.
So looking at the Fire Giant, where Maniac is now is where he was beforehand, and a little bit to the right of that, to the side of the Fire Giant, on the right side, in between that lane, that little jungle, Variety's just sitting there by himself. He can't rotate into the team fight because he knows Fnatic will immediately turn on him. And another thing, too, is Fnatic, great priority targets, right? Mm-hmm. They looked for hi-rez, they locked him down. They looked for Frostiek or Frezzo afterwards, they locked him down. They looked for Frostiek, they locked him down. They picked him off one at a time, forcing 3, 4, or even 5 members to all aim for that one target.
Right.
So even if Variety did manage to heal him up, it wouldn't have been enough for the lockdown.
Too much burst onto one target. I mean, target selection is always important at this high-end level of play, but specifically when there's a healer. I mean, Hell can heal up 25% of your HP, but if you're doing 30% of that HP bar a second, it doesn't matter. It's just an additional second that you need to take the opponent out. So Fnatic really playing against this healer correctly, and this type of healing can really disrupt the way a team wants to play.
Frostiek kind of beats out that Neith ult there. Going to be healed up.
Important. If he didn't beat that, he was dead.
Likely. Dignitas, they're going to be doing Gold Fury off to the side here. Fnatic, they don't have any vision on it, but I think they smell something out. They know 2 members are missing, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to take advantage and start up this Fire Giant. Dignitas, those 2 players are going to be rotating, however, and there's no way Fnatic can finish this off before they get here.
Yeah, Fnatic needs to take the fight. Thor in the air. Thor wants to take it. 3 members of Fnatic are grouped up. Perfect spot to land. Frostiek will land, but only get 1. Badja stunned out just a little bit, but immediately followed up by the stun by Captain Twig. Knocked in the air as 2 members of Team Dignitas. Spinning to winning is the Thor, but Captain Twig cleans him up. Frostiek will die, but right after Zeros. 4 on each side of the fight. Up in the air is Maniac, looking to heal up just a little bit. Hell, forced down to the right-hand side of the fight. Fnatic has gotten her isolated just like they want, but problems for Reels. The main damage dealer is gone. hi-rez takes him out with a bubblegum out of Pulsar Radiate. Badja served to the rest of the Team Dignitas, lying in wait for the Tree God. 4 members of Team Dignitas are going to take down that Guardian. Frezzo gets credit, and now Maniac is the one all alone.
There's 10 seconds on his 72 transformations. There's nowhere for him to go. 4 more seconds. He's going to get slowed down. hi-rez going to find that kill on Dignitas. That Hell was able to stay in this fight, and that's what matters. Fnatic, they looked like they had it. They were able to immediately lock down Frostiek, who went super deep, but no one could zone out Variety. Variety able to just keep his team alive, keep them healthy.
Variety was zoned out, but not long enough, able to come back into the fight. And then, as I said, Reels fell a little bit too early. A lot of damage coming out from this Neith. He's going to go ahead and fall. Winds up being a 4-for-1 on the way of Team Dignitas and quickly take the lead, not just from the Gold Fury, but the Fire Giant as well. They still trail in kills, but that's not what matters. 3,333 gold on the side of Team Dig as they barrel down this right-hand side.
They're going to be taking this, yeah, they're going to be taking this tower. And likely, I expect them to go take some more towers, but it doesn't look like they want a full commit right now. They have a decent amount in hand, every player, with at least 1,200. They're going to be backing, trying to get some core items online. Winged Blade, finish by Hell, so a little bit worried about the slow potential coming out.
Unravel, the 2 for Maniac, another slow coming
just doesn't
out.
want to get locked down. He wants to make sure that he keeps his movement speed up, and it's also going to give him movement speed as well, so he's faster through these team fights. He can weave in and out, and even if he gets zoned, he should be able to juke through and find the targets he needs to heal up. Isis finishes Rod of Tahuti. Sobek finishing Witchblade.
Which one?
I hate you.
Who's on first? 15 kills. Fnatic still up in the way of kills, but not in the categories that really matter. So they're down but not out. 6,000 gold separating these two teams. Fnatic need to make a defense, but not anytime soon. You'll never, ever, I don't want to say never, but you'll very rarely see a team defend on a tier 1 this late in the game. It's just not worth it.
You could also get looped around very easily.
Exactly.
That's the big problem, is you can get pinched super hard. It's not worth the risk. They can come over that wall. Whereas the tier 2 tower, it's a little bit too wide. The jungle or the trees there are a little bit too wide, so people can't teleport over if they have anything like that, like a Thor hammer. Frost, yeah, gonna go in deep already. Maniac trying to cause some disruption, and you could actually see the dives coming out onto Shadow Nightmare immediately.
No stunts coming out from Captain Twigs, Roma, and Victa, but it will give the team an excellent place to fight. Badger originally got a couple of people in the air, but Frezzo is the first one to claim a life in this entire fight. Thor comes down, misses everybody with the stun, but the heals from Variety are absolutely incredible and a huge part of why Team Dignitas is allowed to take out this tier 2. Now, I said before, I don't want to say never, but very rarely will you see a team defend on tier 1. Tier 2, you'll see an attempted defense, but if it goes the other way, a quick retreat. This is where Fnatic wants to defend, on top of the Phoenix, and this is all up to them. Frezzo tanking the tower for the rest of his team while they target the objective. Fnatic playing it a little safe. Reels is putting out some basics, but not committing.
Yeah, and Frezzo finding a pluck, but look at this healing. It's way too much right now for them to deal with. You know, both weakening curses were used at that tier 2 tower and not able to lock down the healing either way. You could see them put so much focus on Shadow Nightmare, and that's their goal, right? Ignore Frostiak, ignore Frezzo. Either zone out Variety, and then try and lock down Rins or Shadow Nightmare on that Isis. They haven't been successful, and it's very hard to also fight into an Isis who drops that circle protection. Not only is she going to be healed at the end of it, but also reducing the damage.
I mean, this composition that Team Dignitas has when it comes to sieging is, I mean, this is one of the better ones. They don't have a traditional hunter, which would allow them to take down these objectives even faster, but as you said, between the circle of protection and the hell heals, what are you going to do? Gold Fury given absolutely for free to Team Dignitas as well. So you'll see this put them even further in the lead as far as gold is concerned. Over 10,000 gold in their coffers above the opponent.
Right now, Dignitas is in full control of this game. It's up to them to drop it, and right now, it's looking very hard for them. I mean, it seems that Fnatic just doesn't have the damage to lock down the targets they need. You take a look at their builds. Maniac has one damage item, or primarily damage item in Jotun's Wrath. Twig has Ichval and Executioner, but it's so late into the game that Bellona's damage has fallen off. He's still a very strong team fighter. He's just not putting out the burst he needs. We see Zeros has got some damage in his kit, but he's had to buy that Divine Ruin, which is going to be much less effective than a Thoth would. And then Reels, I mean, he just completed Rage, but doesn't have a Steroid in his kit, just a lot less damage than a typical Hunter will, and he's having trouble also getting to the back line of Dig, because he's getting blown up in response.
That's the issue, is that Team Dignitas understands, all right, Fnatic, You want to isolate our hell? No problem. We're going to isolate your Neith. And while Team Dignitas didn't take advantage of the predictability of the flip in lane, team fights is a much different story. Blinking away from the damage is going to be Badger, so no problems there. But Team Dignitas
no blink to get into the Fire Giant pit now.
Yes,
at least for, yeah, that's a tier 1 blink for Bellona, tier 1 blink for Badger. And it started up.
Mark. Fire Giant halfway in. Here comes Captain Twig over the top. Gets a stun. Fight fully engaged. Frosty X in the air, but he's 40%.
Fire Giant.
Fire Giant very, very low. This is anyone's Fire Giant. Who's going to kill the last hit? Team Dignitas, the aggressor, will confirm it. Here comes Maniac off of the cloud. Ultimate is down, so he doesn't have that extra life to his boon, but so much damage comes down to the front side of Team Dignitas. Reels gets credit for one, Badger gets credit for the other. They're fighting with only Maniac down. It's 4 versus 3. Renz ties it up, 3v3. This is an even fight for all intents and purposes. Up in the air as Reels inevitably will take a couple of shots. Can he survive? The answer is no. Frezzy cleans him up with a tail whip. Captain Twig also very low, unable to take out hi-rez in that last hit from the bludgeon. The double tap will confirm it. Frostiak cleans up the fight. All members but Badger for Fnatic will take a spill, and Team Dignitas winds up on the top of that 2-3.
That just looked like it should have been a fight in favor of Fnatic. I mean, they were able to lock down Variety before the fight truly broke out.
Yep.
Dignitas was so pushed away. This actually could be game end here, and that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're even going for a Phoenix. I think they're just going for the win. There's Fire Minions already on the Titan. It's at 8,000. This is Dig's win. It's going to be so hard for Badger to stop him. He takes to the sky, and no one's spawning for 10 seconds. Dignitas, there's no way this is going to be stopped. It's not free FP week. This is upset week at the SPL, and Fnatic actually, like that is not a good look for them.
Not at all. They didn't even go for the Fire Giant. They just directly went for the win, well...
They didn't go for the Phoenix, right? They didn't.
That's what I meant, yeah. And they just go ahead and nail it. Dignitas looking very, very strong. Even in the game, that they dropped in game number 1, sort of had the pieces, Fnatic able to pull it off in the end. And then game 2, Dignitas put everything together. Fantastic play coming out from a team that a lot of people wrote off a while ago.
I wrote them off. I mean, I looked at their games. The past 18, they've won 3 of them. 3 out of their last 18 games, and they were against upcoming stars and then Justice last week. First Blood, though, Fnatic got it started off right. This was the second engagement. Yeah, the first one was back and forth where a lot of missed abilities, but this time Twig able to lock down hi-rez. And although Reels and Badger controlled that lane, coming into late game, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, and a large part of this for me, off of Fnatic's loss. Again, Team Dignitas did play very, very well, and they definitely earned this one. But I think Reels playing the Neith puts them in a little bit of an awkward situation. We mentioned it beforehand. I wanted to see more. I just didn't see enough ultimates early game.
We didn't see it at all. We didn't see, and that's the thing, right? You mentioned it when we get in, because I don't know why I didn't think of this, but Hell was not shut down at all, and Variety played a phenomenal Hell. He was left alone. He got the early advantage. I just got word from production, 20,000 healing.
20,000 healing with pestilences and weakening curses, and I don't know. That's all I'm going to say, because we actually have Variety here with us, and we can talk to him directly. Variety, congratulations on your team's second win of the split. How you doing, buddy?
Thanks very much. I'm doing very good. Thank you.
Excellent to hear from you. I mean, so in the first game we mentioned how it was a sort of a full swing around. You played Odin, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on really where that one went. But with Hell, you completely turned it around. What's the thought process as a team when it comes to picking this healer?
Usually it's to keep the carries alive and let Freya do her job and destroy everyone.
Okay. So, I mean, was this your game plan? Is get ahead? I really liked the wording you did at the beginning, because I think that was one of the reasons you were able to snowball, noticing that the invade was coming out. Who made that call on putting that ward there and playing a defensive start early on?
That was actually me and Frosty together.
Okay. Understanding really how important the map is and what that can do for you. So you guys go ahead, you take down Fnatic. Later on, you're going to have a different opponent ahead of you. Do you guys have any future plans specifically for your opponent, or is it just sort of, well, we've got our second win, let's get the snowball rolling?
Mainly, we got our second win, try to keep going though, and take every game as it comes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If there's anything you want to say to your friends or family out there, shout-outs?
Shout-outs to Team Dignitas, all our sponsors, shout-outs to Young Bay, and yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining. Once again, that's Variety, solo laner for Team Dignitas off of his 20,000 healing hell game as they took the game over Fnatic. That series will be split down the middle 1-1, but that's not the end. That's just game 1 out of 4. Our next matchup will be Epsilon versus London Conspiracy. Coming at you right quick. We'll be right back. Just a couple.
Just a trend. Will I become the nothingness that you would call your friend? If not, I think I'll play this game again. 'Cause I remember when you said it's the smartest way if all we stay as friends. 'Cause I remember when you said we stay as friends. Stay as friends.